very good afternoon to you and welcome to today's edition of Joy Business Masterclass. Masterclass is powered by Joy Business and brought to us by Goyle. Goyle, good energy, Goyle, Yenara, Yedia. Masterclass comes your way every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. and runs all the way through to 2:15 p.m. here on your superstation Joy 99.7. My name is Barnafo and I'm glad to be your host for today's edition of Masterclass. Today we continue our conversation on the Startup Dialogue series where we go back into the market and speak to entrepreneurs and find out that after having shared all those principles, how do they pan out in the real world? The month is ending, you've got to pay salaries, you have no liquidity. How do you manage to pay your salaries? How do you manage to still keep your business afloat? In the last couple of weeks, we've spoken to three entrepreneurs, Akosia Sechiejekun, who was CEO of Noesa Shoes right here in Ghana. We also spoke to Yusuf Mezongo Jr., who's also CEO of Maison Yusuf. Last week, we had the privilege of speaking to Boahima Intim, who's also a manufacturer of tea right here in Ghana. Today, we continue to speak to another entrepreneur who also has a different product. Actually, we'll be finding out very shortly. And naturally, their CVs are always like the ones I say when I grow up, I want to be like them. Our resource person for this afternoon is a co-founder and CEO of a company known as SeamlessHR, which is Africa's leading cloud HR and payroll technology company. By training, he's a medical doctor, and his work takes him into entrepreneurial spaces, and he's got a love for entrepreneurship. He's done so much work, and he'll be telling us a bit more about the work that he's done today. Naturally, his education has gone on through to Georgetown University, through University of California, and also through to some Nigerian universities. My guest for this afternoon's conversation is, let me pronounce this properly, Dr. Emmanuel Okeleji. Okay, welcome to the conversation today.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's interesting we're not going to be talking about doctor of business, but you're a doctor of medicine, but we're going to be talking about business. But I'm excited to have you here
Thank you.
on the show. Here on the Dialogue series, naturally we're just sharing stories, the journey of our entrepreneurship story, so that it does a number of things. It helps to encourage someone who's listening and also gets people to draw a connect between where they are in their journey and where you are and how you surmounted the challenges that you had. So we'll just go straight into the conversation. We want to get as much out of you as possible. So I've mentioned your name here, but I always like to do this, a little mischief. We say, for the record, please state your full name.
My name is Emmanuel Okeleji.
Okay.
I'm very, very happy to be your guest today.
Brilliant. We're excited to have you, actually. So just so people don't think that you came out of a box already made and wrapped and all presented like a brand new car. You started from somewhere. There was a journey that you went through.
Yes.
We want people to be able to draw a connect at different points of the journey, not just the end product, not just the business you run, and not just the result, but somewhere along the journey. If somebody's able to connect and say, "Oh, I also went through that," okay, but my outcome is slightly different. So how can I get the outcome that I require? Tell us a bit about growing up, about your family background. Nothing personal, but just a few things that will help us draw a connect to how you have arrived where you are today.
That's great. Yeah. So my dad was a veterinary doctor. My mom a school teacher. And so my dad had started a poultry farm in 1978. So it's been poultry business for quite a minute. And so I was born into a setting where I did work on the farm. I had three brothers who were we're four boys, and we worked. My parents made sure that we did everything that we had stuff on the farm. We had many stuff, but we did everything our staff did. Like from taking care of the chicken from when they're like chicks, little, all the way. Then we had piggery, we had fishery, we had plants, and I would go in fish ponds. I would do everything you do for chickens. We had goats, so we had like really.
So you're pretty much like an ordinary farm boy growing up.
Absolutely, worked in the feed mill. I did everything, just as my brothers did. So sort of grew up being having a very good relationship with work, if you like. And we also had some level of corporate governance on the farm business. And so my dad would make me sit in on board meetings when I was 8 years old. And
that early?
Yes, I was just sitting. I'd call myself a board observer. Just sitting on board meetings. And I think those things sort of like shaped my worldview a lot. I'm really grateful for that kind of upbringing.
You know, there's something that resonates with me, and as business owners, I'm just going to mention this. If we have people that we're bringing up and growing, looking up to take over from us in the future, it's very good to begin to train them early.
Absolutely.
So there's a photograph I saw on Facebook yesterday, and essentially it's about a father who was a pilot who had a son in the cockpit with him whenever he could, and this boy was just like a toddler. He knew nothing, and years on, the boy's become a pilot, and he got to fly with his father in the same aircraft.
Fantastic.
You're talking about sitting in on board meetings, and now you're running your own board and all of that.
Yes.
So the lesson there is that whatever you want to teach your children growing up, let them start now. They may not fully understand or comprehend it, but it will all come back to them eventually.
Absolutely.
Eventually.
Absolutely. I mean, we have responsibility. I have kids of my own now. We have a very big responsibility to nurture our kids and to influence them, to show them options, to give them insight. Ultimately, they make their choices. I'm not running a great business, but the experiences are transferable. Whether it's from what I learned on the farm or what I learned in medical school, all of that is now very relevant to the work that I do today.
What was education for you like?
So I enjoyed. Growing up, it would be, if you were doing well in sciences, you should study medicine, or engineering or stuff like that. I did enjoy science subjects. I was good at like biology, of course, agriculture and all this stuff, chemistry, physics and stuff. And I did want to be a medical doctor, really. So I went to med school and enjoyed working as a doctor. Did work as a doctor for a few years. But we had this very unique thing that happens in the part of the world that I come from. Our universities will go on strike from time to time. So med school was 6 years, but I had 2 years of strike, which is like 3 months there, 6 months there, 2 weeks there, all of that. So during those strikes, I started dabbling because the entrepreneur seed was sort of like been planted since when
Already?
I was young. Yeah. So, and during strikes, I had nothing to do. I had nothing but time. So my present co-founder and I actually started our first startup. He's a software developer, and we started our first startup in 2005 during one of those strikes, and that was where it started from. But I did finish med school. Had a stint working in investment banking in Goldman Sachs in London, because again Goldman was hiring agnostic. They weren't like, you didn't have to study, whatever you studied didn't matter. So had a stint working.
Was this before or after med school?
After med school.
After med
actually.
school.
Towards the end of med school, then after med school. But so at the time, as I was leaving med school, I went to work in Goldman, and so I had three options: to continue to work as a doctor, to be an investment banker in Goldman, or to continue the startup journey I already dabbled into. And startup looked the most unlikely because medicine is a good job. Goldman is as good as it gets. Startup looked most unlikely, but here we are. That was the road.
Because I'm smiling because I was thinking, having done med school, having found yourself in that environment, you'd go to the highest level of your medical profession, and even apply your entrepreneurial skills there, because today business and management spans across all industry.
Absolutely.
And so even if you're a doctor, you're an engineer, the people who make the decisions are the people who are managing the whole process.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not the surgeons. It's not even the surgeons. When they have to manage the process, they've got to go back to management school.
Absolutely.
So then you could obviously, carve the niche for yourself, but you found yourself in the most unlikely choice of the three, you say.
Yes. So the thing was, the way medical training is, when you're done with your medical training, is the beginning of the journey, and then there are many years of more training. So I wanted to be a kidney transplant surgeon, and that would take another 8 to 10 years of training, depending on where you go to get your training. So
after the 6 years?
Yes, after the 6 years. My 6 was 8. So
you'd have done 16 years of school.
My wife she's a bone marrow transplant specialist, and she's been training for 20 years. So it's a long journey, right? So the point.
Shout out to all my medical guys this afternoon, wherever you are. We respect your sacrifice and your training.
Yeah. So it's a long journey. So I had to make a choice that if I gave these 10 years more to become a kidney transplant surgeon, how many kidney transplantations could I do in a month? Let's say in a busy month, and I'm super hardworking, I'll do 10 transplants in a month. maybe 15 if you push it. That means I'm doing a transplant every 2 days. Like, that's not even possible. So if I did 10 transplants in a month, probably 120 in a year. But I felt I could make more impact building institutions, because then that's more than 120 people in a year. Not to say 120 people in a year is not important, but it's just the quantum of impact. And there was the entrepreneur in me. I'd worked in investment banking. Goldman is a good place to work, and I'd seen like a lot of transactions, heavy transactions that really moved the needle, transactions that changed the world, literally. So I felt that I would make more impact building institutions, and that journey has taken me through. Luckily for me, around time when I was making this decision, there was an hospital project in Lagos that I was involved with. So we built what is a 160-bed multi-specialty hospital that I was involved with that journey. Like, I was on a founding team, and that meant today that hospital sees over 500 patients per day. So that for me is more impactful than doing 120 surgeries in a year.
In making that decision, how did your father, your mother, those who had supported you through med school, including the strikes, all the sacrifice, all the wait, all the extra money, all the inflation, and then you finally finish med school and decide, I want to go and do business? How easy was it to make that decision? What happened?
Let's just say there were some people who felt that I might have been sick. Like, is this person normal? But my parents were very. They allowed us to make our decisions, and so I really, my dad just checked to say, "Are you really sure of this is really what you want?" And I said yes. So give it a shot. And I think I remember saying to him that if it didn't work in 3 years, I'll go back to be a doctor. And it was fine. So it wasn't a struggle with my dad. My father-in-law, like I mentioned to you, my wife is a doctor as well. My father-in-law is a doctor. He was a little bit more unsure. It's like, am I going to give my daughter to this guy? Who's not sure where he's going. But it wasn't really a tough conversation, because somehow I think that there was just a lot of factors that helped, and they trusted my decision. They knew it wasn't a flippant, just person just taking rash decisions.
I mean, the thing is that looking back today, it was a brilliant decision. Let's go straight into your business, Seamless HR.
Yes.
You talk about 2005, you and your partners starting something. Was that the first business? Was it in 2005? Was that Seamless HR?
No, it wasn't Seamless HR.
So that wasn't the first thing you tried your hands at?
No, that was not the first thing.
What was the first thing you tried?
So the first thing was we were building software for cooperative societies. Like, I don't know what it's called here, but cooperative societies are like when staff of a company come together and form like a financial institution and share money and make contributions and stuff.
And take turns.
And take turns, yes. So we built software to power that, and we powered some of the bigger brands that I will leave unnamed. So that was what we did, and I was making some money. We were in school, and it was web-based. It was a tech startup. And back in 2005, there was no venture capital investment in tech. So it was pretty traditional. It was just two young people who were just hustling. And we did good. We hired a bunch of people who were still in school, and we made some money. Yeah, that was the first.
Where was your clientele? Because it was web-based.
Yes, it was web-based.
But were they in Nigeria?
Yes, largely in Lagos.
Largely in Lagos.
Yes.
Okay. And then transition from there to 2009.
Yes, so in 2009, we wanted to. So at the time, it was like, I was leaving med school, and I needed to do something impactful. I needed to make sure that whatever I did, if I eventually left medicine, had to be something that was impactful. Money is important, but money is not the most important thing to me. Money, I think, is secondary. It's not really primary. And I can talk about that later. So I needed to do something that would make the world a better place and make money from it. So I felt that fixing the unemployment problem, my co-founder and I felt that, would be something impactful. And because unemployment was so big, would be something that we also could be able to monetize. So we built a jobs aggregator, something like a Google for jobs. And we launched that and ran it for several years, and we didn't make money. Like,
when you say job aggregator, so
Yes.
if someone is looking for a job in any field or industry, they would go to your
Yes.
platform.
So what our platform did was like we had crawlers or robots that would crawl the internet, just like Google works, and look for like crawl job sites, crawl websites of companies, anywhere there are jobs. We had like some artificial intelligence, even way back then, that would then aggregate all those jobs in one place so that you can search, just the way you use Google.
Right.
So from our site, if we take you to other sites, other places where there are jobs, and the value prop was that we will be able to, this is one place where all the jobs are, and because all the job seekers are here, we can then connect them to other things. So we had like
Exactly.
a e-learning platform where you could train to get more skills. So we did all those things. We had a blog, we had a vlog, we had all these things, but the only thing we didn't have was money. We didn't know how to make money from it, because it was really hard to make money, because in Africa, it's, the thing is, you find solutions that work in America and you just think that they can work here. But if you look at the unemployment market in the US, unemployment rates will be at 5-6%. So it's an employees market, because employers, it's a big country, they're looking for talent, so they'll pay job sites. In Africa, unemployment could be 20-30%. And so it's not an employees market, it's an employer's market. If an employer sneezes on Twitter, they'll get 1,000 CVs. So they don't really need a job site. So we couldn't monetize. The business model just didn't work, but we worked hard, built very good platform. And the point about, you can build a fantastic solution that doesn't solve any problem.
But wasn't the challenge of not being able to monetize more the fact about knowing how to monetize it online? Because the platforms you were working on and everything were not local. These were international platforms that you were leveraging on to work. It's just like what's happening on TikTok and Google and YouTube today, where people are learning to monetize it. Hitherto, people didn't know how to do that. So was that not more the challenge? Because I see that the conversation on the market was also one of people not being savvy enough. Even though you had all the Unilag guys and everything, going through and all that, but not many people had access to internet back in the day on their phones and all of that.
Yeah, so there was internet access. People could at least come online. So there were a number of people online. But the thing is that if you look at the fact that what we were selling was jobs, first of all, there were just not enough jobs. So no matter how fast our web pages loaded, how user-friendly our platform was, it would not create a job. And if there is no job, you can't really satisfy your customer. The second thing is that the customer, the mass of the people we were serving were the job seekers. And the mass of job seekers don't have money. So you can't really get money from someone who doesn't have money, right?
That would make sense.
There's no way to make money from someone who doesn't have money. The employers who had money didn't see what you were doing as a problem they wanted to pay for. So, I'll tell you a story at some point when we pivoted, and there was this competition we had, which is like the best in our space. And the same company who was going to pay us at this time, who was paying us $150,000, had a meeting with one of those, this competitor firm as a job site, and they paid them zero. The same day we had a meeting, we made presentation of our new business. They were paying us $150,000. They were paying this company we were looking up to zero. So the same customer had $150K to pay for a problem, and had zero to pay for the best at what we were doing before. So the business model just didn't work. It was a business model problem. It just didn't work. No matter how hard we worked, there was no way to scale what we were doing.
So how did you raise capital? That's number one. And how did you pivot to SeamlessHR?
So two big questions. So the first one, when we were running the job site, remember I started a job site as I was flipping from medicine to like...
Exactly.
So I saw my last patient in March 2013. So I raised my first check in September 2012, and it was 3 million naira from one of my patients. After I did my ward rounds, I usually do a second round after I've done all the clinical stuff. I had this mentality that no one wanted to be in the hospital. So in the evening, I would just go and just chat with my patients, just to take their minds off their sickness, and just
good doctor.
Well, I tried. So one of those chats, and I was just chatting to this patient. I was like, "Oh, you seem to know quite a bit. What else do you do?" And they said, "Oh, I've dabbled into tech to see." And this person says, "I have some money. Are you looking to raise?" One thing led to another, and I was leaving. So I said, "Okay, when I finish when I'm leaving medicine, I'm to focus on this thing, So this person
Because I can't be taking capital from my patients.
Yes. So this person invested.
The medical thing is going to come after me, like.
So after I left, this person invested. One of my surgeons, one of my mentors also invested. So we're raising little cash,
So
it's
from
like,
friends, family.
yes, family and friends, just contacts, they call it 3Fs: family, friends, and fools. Fools in a good sense.
That's where I was going to.
Yes. So this lady will qualify as the fools category in a good sense, because she had money that she didn't really have use for, and it's like, yeah, you can take it, no problem. And at that time, it was sort of like $20,000.
Yeah.
Today, that investment is worth over $1.5 million. So that was a good day in the hospital for her. So this is how we started, and that's how we raised money. But we then ran the job site for 4 years, and we weren't making any money. But we had good board. I told you that I'm a stickler for corporate governance. So we already had a board, like a really strong board, on this business that wasn't making money. So the board sort of nudged us in the direction of strategy and said, guys, you're not making money. You have to do something different. So I guess the lesson there is like having good corporate governance, having good advisors, even if it's not a board, like mentors that you listen to. Because a lot of entrepreneurs were like type A people, we believe in what we believe. This is why we venture. But we have to balance that with listening to advice. So the board sort of nudged us in the direction of strategy. So we did strategy. We asked ourselves, my simple definition of strategy is asking yourself tough questions, right? And strategy is more about questions than answers. Like if you're asking the right questions, because everybody has answers, right? But everybody can come up with some answer. But it's important, what question did you ask?
Yeah.
So we did ask some very important questions that led us to pivot to Seamless HR. And which meant we had to abandon everything we've done for 4 years and start a new journey. So that's how we pivoted on the back of strategy, and it was still, we wanted to make impact, but we felt what we needed was not just jobs, it's to help the companies to run better so that they could hire more people. So what are the tools that the employers needed? And now that we've worked on customers who didn't have money, we are focusing on customers who can pay. And so what's the pain these customers have that they're willing to pay for, and that we could solve for them, and that when we solve it, there will be better companies that can hire more people.
I mean, granted that you explained to us at the high level that Seamless HR was essentially to help companies to optimize their resource availabilities to become better companies. So if you're in manufacturing, you would be able to optimize your resource, which is your staff, in the best way possible in managing them to optimize your resource. What were some of the examples or specifics that Seamless HR offered?
So even today, so Seamless HR is an end-to-end HR and payroll system that helps employers manage everything from hiring to onboarding to HR information systems, performance management, leave management, time and
So it's more than a payroll system then?
It's not a payroll system alone. It's more than a payroll system. So it's like they're helping large employers. So today we have close to 1,000 businesses that use Seamless HR across Africa. So we're talking banks, insurance companies, manufacturing. We're sector agnostic. So companies across, power, agriculture, oil and gas, across governments, and so we have offices in Nigeria, we have an office in Kenya, we're just opening an office in Ghana.
I was going to ask about Ghana. Do you have any clients in Ghana?
Yes, we have a few clients in Ghana. So we're relatively newer in Ghana. So we're doing east-west. Next year we're opening an office in South Africa. We've also started prospecting to open an office in Egypt and Ethiopia. So we're going across the continent and helping companies manage their most important resource, which is human resources. And before Seamless, and we're focused on medium to large enterprises. So you're talking companies 50 employees up the way to 20,000 employees, our biggest customers. Some of the state governments that we work with are even more, 70,000 employees. So we've got like really large employers. And the important thing is, I'll give you an example. There's a company called Amazon that most of us know. Amazon has 1.6 million employees. There's really no way to grow businesses to be that big without technology.
That's true.
And so what Seamless is doing is helping African businesses with African-built technology. So it's for Africa by Africa. And if we're not building our own tools in the continent, we're going to have to pay other people a high price for those tools. So we feel very, very happy that for the first time in hundreds of years, Africans now have the capacity to build their own technology. And we're now building on our terms, built by our customers, for our customers. We're close to the customers. We're taking feedback. We're taking needs from customers and making sure we're building tools that really can help African institutions become better. We really are passionate about this, especially both public and private. So because how would we run better institutions at the public level or private level without technology? So that's what Seamless is.
It's interesting to know that there are Africans who are, making incursions into the field of technology, because more than a certain, should I say, fair 60-70% of our cloud computing offerings today are not African based.
Absolutely.
So all of our data is sitting out there. I mean, without flogging it too much. But tell us about your first sale. First of all, you were not making money. You pivoted on the back of strategy to Seamless HR. What was your first sale?
Yeah, so at the time when we were pivoting, we had run out of money. And we were really broke. All the family and friends were done. They'd given us all the money they could give us, so we were really broke. I remember going to one of our investors and asking him, just give us some money, we need to pay salaries. And he says, no, we can't, and it was really hard. We've burnt through everything. During these 4 years, I wasn't getting paid. I was getting paid zero. But I would make sure I tried to pay my staff. And I had other consulting jobs on this hospital project I said I was doing. So the hospital project work paid me something, and that was how I ran my life. The company ran in my living room for 3 years. And then when I was going to get married, I had to go to a friend's office.
Of course.
So I went to share a room in a friend's office. This is 2015. And we shared that it's just been through a lot, So these investors said they didn't have money. That month I sold my wife's car to pay salaries for 2 months. So we were that broke, we were back against the wall, no more money from investors. I sold, we had 2 cars, so we just sold one and then got around in the other one. So when we were pivoting, we needed to sell to a customer. We couldn't pivot and wait. We needed to find a customer.
So luckily, make that sale.
Yes, we had to make, because otherwise there was no business. If I'd sold my car, I had nothing else to sell, I sell my clothes or what.
Yeah.
So, but we were very lucky that we found one customer who said, I have this problem, I need this, if you built it for me. And then this company actually made a deposit of something that was $15,000 back then. That was very helpful. And so we built for them. They gave us the problems and we built it. They were our first customer. Then during that journey, there was a young man that I went to ask for advice, because I needed to understand performance management. At that time, I was product manager. I was, designer. I was business. I was sales. I was everything,
Jack of all trades.
You had to, because you didn't have money, right? And, we're moving our few number of staff who were doing something else, CV writing, job site work. We're moving them over to this new company, so they had to learn new skills, and I'm so proud of the team. Many of them are still with us till this day, but they've grown so much. So during the sort of research phase, we spoke to this gentleman who advised us about performance management. Unbeknownst to us, he was moving to a bank. So when he got to the bank, he says, this bank needed HR software. And this young man building stuff, he had seen what we were building, and it was very early stage, version 1, 2017. And then we came to make a presentation to the bank, and the bank was excited about what they saw, and the bank signed us on, and it was $160,000. It was massive. This was more than everything we made for the 4 years that we were running the job site put together.
Suddenly,
yeah,
things were beginning to look up.
Yeah, so things started to change, and open up from there.
What's that one challenge that after the successes kind of hit you and made you think twice and say, was this a flash in the pan? Was this,
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey. What I just described is a 10-year journey from 2013. First 4 years were broke as church rats, not making any money. And then this journey started. And, you burn through. So this customer is a bank. They are asking for so many functionalities. We don't have the capacity. So we're working hard, putting in the hours and building, and the software is breaking. This is in the early days, and but we just kept going, because for me at this point it's been 5 years from med school, from being a doctor. I couldn't look back. So, but we kept going. But during those days, you doubt yourself. Should I go back to medicine? Should I just dust my books and just go and start treating patients again? So that happened a lot. Um, no longer happens now, anyway.
Mm. How old is Seamless HR?
So Seamless is 5 years. If you count from when we pivoted in 20, so the pivot wasn't a sharp pivot. We had strategy in 2017, and then we pivoted towards 2018. So it's about 5 years now, and in that time, things have changed. I have problems today, but they're different kind of problems.
Every level has its own problems.
Yes.
Just estimatedly, from a turnover of zero,
Yeah.
which is where you were at the
Yes,
time.
yes.
What turnovers are you looking at
We're in
for a
million-
5-year-old company?
We're in many millions of dollars turnover.
That's impressive.
Yes, many millions of dollars. I can't say more than that.
You shouldn't say more than that. This is Masterclass here on the Superstation Joy 99.7. I'm here in the studio with Emmanuel Okeleji telling us the story of his business journey. We take a quick message from our sponsors. When we come back, we get interactive. Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, this is Masterclass. We're interactive right now. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. That's 0302 216 541. You can also send us your comments on 055 1111997. That's 055 1111997. Pick up that phone, give us a call. We're talking about the business journey of Emmanuel Okeleji, CEO and founder of Seamless HR. That's a company, that's a startup, 5 years old, from turnover of zero. Now they're in the millions of dollars. Yes, you can also do it. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. That's 0302 216 541. You can also send us your comments on 055 1111997. If you have any motor vehicle of any kind, then here's some great news for you. Goyle has some great news for us. What do you do when you run out of fuel in your vehicle? Do you just stop anywhere? If that's what you do, then do not do that any longer. Let us introduce you to the Good Energy family and why you must be a part of it. Goyle Super XP Run 95 and Diesel XPs are the best quality fuels for high performance in your vehicle. Goyle Super XP Run 95 is a high-grade fuel sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goyle's Diesel XP is low in sulfur, making it an eco-friendly option for your vehicle. And with over 440 stations across the nation, we ask that you join the family that rewards you with the quality for an energized driving experience. Goyle, good energy, Goyle, Yenara, Yedia. Hooray! The Pebby Cups bring you its amazing celebration of champions fanfare, which seeks to recognize, celebrate, and reward children who love to read. Come and meet your favorite celebrities and play games and win fantastic prizes. It's happening live at the Ifwa Sutherland Children's Park on Saturday, the 30th of September, 2023, from 10 a.m. through to 4 p.m. Tickets are going for 40 Ghana cedis and 70 Ghana cedis, and this covers all your food and drinks. It covers a child and one parent. For purchasing and more information, please contact the Pebby Cups at 055-247-7243. That's 055-247-7243. Pebby Cups, success is just a book away. Phone lines are still open. Numbers to call 0302-216-541. You can also pick up, send us your comments on 055-1111997. If you're driving, definitely park because we want you to arrive alive. We're here in the studio with Emmanuel Okeleji, CEO and founder of Seamless HR. Emmanuel, while we're waiting for the phone lines to ring, let's still have a bit more conversation. So in a changing environment, things are changing a lot these days. In Africa, we're talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. That's come to change the game completely. Now the markets are no longer localized and they're open across the sub-region, across West Africa, across, the entirety of the business space. How is a business like Seamless HR, startup 5 years old, with all the challenges you've had and all the successes that you've had, how are you positioning yourself to relevant within this space and in this time?
Fantastic question. So we are decidedly Pan-African, and there's very deliberateness to that. Like I said, we have an office in Lagos, we have an office in Nairobi, we have an office now in Accra, or we're opening an office now in Accra. And we're also registered an entity in South Africa. We have business in Botswana. We're opening an office in Ethiopia as well, and Egypt. And all this is happening in 5 to 6 years from starting. So there's a deliberate intention to be Pan-African. And for instance, our Kenya office covers Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania. So we have customers in that region that's managed from our Kenya office. South Africa office will cover customers in that region. So by the end of next year, we'll actually have east, west, north, south footprint. Now we have east and west and a bit of south. Northeast is sort of the final. And the way I look at it is that African business people have to think about the continent as a single market. And if you look at like China, for instance, Africa is like the population of China, and there's huge opportunity for us if we think about the market, the continent as a single market. I usually tell myself that the colonialists who came to colonize Africa, they came in spite of all the obstacles. They didn't understand our language. They're susceptible to diseases. They didn't have any context, but they came in spite of the challenges. So we can't say to ourselves, young African business people, that we have an excuse to not go. And these guys conquered. We're having this conversation in their language. That shows that they conquered.
There were a few of them when they came, and more of us.
Yes.
And yet here we are.
Yes, here we are. So African business people should venture. We have to venture. Because we're not even colonizing. We are helping ourselves. We're exchanging ideas. If the people who came with other intentions were not afraid, the people who have good intentions can't afford to be afraid. And so things like the Africa Free Trade agreements, Continental Free Trade Agreement, is a good thing. It's building highways for businesses to do more work across the continent. Our continent needs a lot of work to be done. We're way down the productivity ladder globally. Everybody knows Africa is the least productive continent in the world, and it's Africans that will pull us up. No one outside Africa is going to pull us up. We're going to do it, and we're not going to do it by sitting at home. We have to do it on the road. We have to do it afraid. We have to do it ambitious, and that I think is the best way to do good for our land.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Absolutely.
I think I read a book last week which had a statement in it that says to risk nothing is to risk all. Absolutely. I'm not sure who said it, but I give the credit to whoever wrote it. It says to risk nothing is to risk all. Talk to us about the place of risk in going out to do businesses, in entrepreneurship, so that someone listening this afternoon understands that risk is not a negative thing. It's actually a good thing, because especially you want to do the right thing, isn't it?
Fantastic.
But what's the place of risk in venturing into
question.
business?
Just yesterday I was reading a piece. The piece is titled May Your Road Be Rough. And the writer
May your road be rough.
Yes. And the writer was talking. It was written in 1964. And it was written on the 1st of January 1964. And the writer was saying that may this year be rough for you. And his point was that nothing is gained if you don't get out on the rough road. If you're afraid of challenges, you won't gain anything. Someone says that the ship is safe in the harbor, but the harbor is not the destiny of the ship. If you want to fulfill your destiny as a ship, you have to go out in the wild open seas and risk everything. And opportunity is proportional to risk. If you take more risk, you more opportunity. Even the good book says that a lazy man is sleeping on his bed and is saying there's a lion on the street. It's like it's turning on his bed like the hinges of a door and doing nothing. Yeah, you see. So we have to
lion
venture.
in the streets.
Yes, we have to. Yeah, go out there. Don't say there's a mountain in the way. Mountains are supposed to be in the way. So it's the job of a mountain to be in the way. So what's your job? Climb it, run around it, blast it off, do whatever, go.
I know this may sound like a very simple question, but how do we deal with setbacks? I suppose a lot of people are afraid of setbacks. I put my money in it didn't work. I'm going to have to pay the money back. I just can't handle, negative answers. I've tried 5 times, it didn't work. I know there are examples of people who have tried and it worked, but how do I deal with it personally? How did you deal with it personally?
I think that, I credit God for a lot of the... I can't say to myself, I'm a self-made man. I put myself up by my bootstraps. I've been helped by people. Today we have 230 plus people working in Seamless. It's their work, it's their sweat and their assistance that's brought us here. So I think challenges come, and the prayer is that we don't face challenges that are bigger than us. But most challenges that come to us are challenges we can surmount. I think that we just need to make better decisions. This is a long answer, but I will shorten it by saying there's a thin line between courage and foolhardiness. We have to make sure that we stay on the courage side and not make bad decisions. And how to do that is to seek advice. But if you're doing all the good stuff and challenges come, just stay at it. No one said it was going to be easy. May your road be rough.
May your road be rough. I've got Edward on social media. Edward says, please ask Emmanuel, who is his ideal customer for the software?
So our ideal customer will be companies between 50 employees to 10,000 employees. There will be companies that want to manage their human resources well. So hiring, onboarding, HR information systems, all of that. So we have like the banks. Some of the largest banks in Africa now use us. Insurance companies, even smaller businesses, 50 staff. Those are our ideal customers. Manufacturing companies. We're sector agnostic, so any sector, but you are a structured institution that wants to manage your human resources well. That will be an ideal customer from any industry. Yeah.
So you're a general manager, you're a COO, you're an HR manager, you're listening how to make your work easier and more effective. You can begin to look at some of these options. These days, we don't need to work hard. We need to work smart.
Absolutely.
And there are systems that are helping us to optimize our improvement. So Emmanuel's product is one of those products. I've got another one on social media. This one is from Mensa. Mensa says, what would you say is the most challenging when it comes to building a business in Africa?
So I will answer that in two directions. One is that there are many challenges that face us. I've had challenges with finding funding. I've had challenges with infrastructure. I've had challenges with talent, finding people who have the skills to help scale this. But I don't see challenges as obstacles. I see challenges like I dance with challenges. It's a romance, if you like.
Let me put this in perspective.
Yeah.
When you say you dance with challenges or you welcome them.
Yes.
Is this the Emmanuel today? Post all the challenges, you become a better person, or the Emmanuel when back in the day? I'm trying to put it into perspective so that people don't feel that. So why am I afraid when Emmanuel is so afraid?
I don't.
Were you ever afraid?
I was afraid, but I did it afraid. I've always done it afraid. I'm still afraid today.
Okay, so what we're saying is that it's okay to be afraid.
Absolutely.
It's okay to worry. It's okay to sleep in your bed and say there's a lion in the street. But after having done that, get up and go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to put that into perspective.
Absolutely. I'm still afraid today. I'm still afraid of the vision is huge. At every step, challenges will not stop. So I don't really respect challenges that much. Challenges are what they are. They're doing their job. I'm doing my job. A mountain, a mountain is doing the job of a mountain. I have to get my job done. So I don't say, I met a mountain on the way. Yes, mountains are supposed to be on the way. Just go.
Challenges are supposed to challenge you. You're supposed to surmount them.
Exactly.
Everybody's doing
their job. Yeah.
I've got another one on social media. It says, my name is Sandra, and I have two questions for Dr. Emmanuel. How can you successfully raise funds as an African startup? And so let's start with that.
Yes, the journey is like from family, friends.
Yeah.
Like the idea must be meaningful enough for some of your friends and family members to believe in you, or for you to save your money towards it. So start small. You don't start climbing a tree from the top. Have step-by-step validation. Then you can then attract different steps of investors. Okay. There's more funding now for startups. Tech startups have a lot of funding now that we didn't used to have before. So the times are actually better now.
Right.
Yeah.
Second question, what are the indicators of an idea that will successfully, I think she was trying to say scale or work?
Yes. So value. Is there people in the world for whose problem you are able to solve, and they can't find a better solution elsewhere? So it has to be that you're solving a problem, except you're going to put a gun to people's head. You can't take money out of people's pockets if you're not giving them something in exchange for it that they think is at least of the same amount of value of the money they're paying you, or better. That's how. So the secret is to create solution. And if you're in a continent where there's so many problems, come on, there's so much value to create. Just flip those problems and you have value. On the flip side of problems is value. So it just has to be well done, that people feel that this is what the amount this person is asking me to pay, or even what more. Then you have it.
It's interesting you talk about the point you just made, because we had Thompson Chua. He's one of the resource persons on this show, and he's always said that let your business idea solve a problem.
Yes.
And then the revenues will come.
Absolutely.
And another person said it very beautifully, that take care of the business and the business will take care of the money.
Absolutely. That's why I said money is secondary. I would say the primary thing is to solve problems big enough for the kind of money you want to make, because it's an open market. People are willingly paying for problems they want solved. So it's at a basic level.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why you stick your hand in your pocket and you pay is because you're getting value. So if you build value, you will get paid.
Someone is listening this afternoon and they want to get in touch. Where do they find you? What's the approach of coming into Ghana? Are there going to be engagement sessions? Are there going to be fairs? Are there going to be, apart from sessions like this, where do people find you? How do they engage? Who do they call?
Yes.
Where do they go to?
www.seamlesshr.com is the website to go. We have a very strong representative that we're working with in Ghana, Senrap Consulting. Would also be, and we have a team that we're setting up here as well. But where the journey starts is www.seamlesshr.com. You can reach us on that website.
Okay, once they go there, they'll get the help they require.
Absolutely.
What's the one thing that stands out in Seamless HR? I know for any developer they'll say everything is great, but what's the one thing for which reason people should get Seamless HR?
First of all, it's end-to-end platform, so it helps you solve all of your human resource problem from hiring to exit and everything in between. It's affordable and it's built by Africa for Africa, which means that it actually works to solve the problems that we have here, and it's world-class, cutting-edge, globally competitive solution to problems that human resource problems in the continent.
Final words.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed speaking about our journey, and I just want to challenge anyone out there doing your work. If you will take anything away from this, 1, value. 2, don't be cowed by problems. Problems are actually good. It's actually good to face problems, because it's in solving problems that you get solutions. So problems are good.
Dr. Emmanuel Okeleji, co-founder and CEO of Seamless HR, here with us in the studio, telling us a story of his business journey. This has been Masterclass. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you same time next week.